Good morning. This is Mr. Das from All India Cantonment Bungalow Owners Association. I have been in the last 1 month trying to explain a lot of policies, a lot of laws on these cantonments. Today I will be explaining purely law. Now this has to be understood. Please watch this video very carefully because this is going to define a word which the department cannot deny. And this relates to my vision. I would be uploading you a lot many things on this on my speech, but you need to understand them. If anything which is non-understandable, get back to me. So there is a word used in column 9 of our GLR that is called holder of occupancy rights. Now where does this word actually derive from? We need to understand that. Since 1800, how these lands, how these ownerships, properties have been defined, and finally, why does the GLR, which was way back made in 1925, imbibe this word called holder of occupancy rights? Friends, again I am saying the Britishers knew what they are doing since they were the cobweb masters of these laws made for the Indian government. So now we will talk of this. So to begin, have we heard the word called ZAIL? This is Z-A-I-L. Now this is a word derived from the original statements of the land revenue records or the Akbari system of records, that whoever is a ZAIL is the absolute owner of his private agricultural land. It's a proprietorship. Now where is this word defined and written in law? By the Britishers itself. If you see the Punjab Settlement Manual of section 28, 1868, similarly re-imbibed in Punjab Tenancy Act, 1868. Further on, reproduced in section 16 of 1887 Land Revenue Act. So this word is very important. Now, when were the first regular settlements done? Either in Madras area, whether in Bombay area, whether in Bengal, and I'll talk more of the Punjab area because I was more concentrating on this entire Punjab belt. So how these settlements, how these reports, how this Tenancy Act came in. Now under section 37 of the Land Revenue Act of 1887, the record only could be altered by an agreement of both parties or in consequences of a degree of court declaring when there the tenant was or was not on occupancy tenant. What is the department GLR saying? We are holder of occupancy rights. So it's admitting that we are there. So we don't need to go to the court. We don't need to go by the section 37. So we need to ask ourselves, if we are holder of occupancies, which culminates from the word ZAIL, how will we be acquired? This fact is established under the right of occupancy, section 5 and 6 of the Act, that whenever an occupancy right is to be taken away, it has to be acquired. Section 11 of the same Act, 27 which I said, 28, 1868, even if I have exchanged my land to land, because at that time, since there were no land acquisition acts and there was nothing called compensation, so mostly people were being compensated that we take away your this piece of land and we give you another piece of land. So once I get another piece of land, my rights and my tenancy continues. So I am once again a holder of occupancy rights there. So my rights don't change. Now there were various classes of occupancy rights. The classes started from 12 years to 20 years and maximum 30 years of being in possession. So once I am in possession, There is a presumption that either I have holded on to a tenant or a tenancy. So this presumption can be rebutted, which the Act said. So Act 16 of 1887 even included an statement that my tenancy will be counted from my predecessor days and my successors in interest. So this entire period will be called my tenancy period, which needs to be suffixed with either 12 years, 20 years or 30 years. Now section 5 subpara 1 and A denotes a natural relationship by adoption, including the customary appointments of an heir and spiritual relationship. If I explain you in a more layman language, Guru and Chela, even if something drives from the Guru to the Chela, his tenancy continues. It is not a break in the tenancy. So when did people come in possession of these mahals or estates or houses? The GLR was made much later. We've been in possession as per them from 1836 till 1925, where we written in these documents. So we have to understand why in column 9 holder of occupancy rights were given to us and was written. So writing landlord, Government of India, that's immaterial. We are not bothered. We are only bothered that we are holder of occupancy rights. Now friends, this GLR, I would say, is basically a land revenue record within the cantonment. This I'll explain you how it is and how this GLR was imbibed to the proprietary rights. Like Jamabandis in the village area. There also we had a land revenue record. So we need to now define these small words under the constitution, which are called possessions, owners, properties. So we'll start one by one. How do we define these words? And this is how we will continue. We were talking of possession, ownership, property. So we'll define these. Now under the section 100 of Evidence Act, it simply means transfer of the chief method of transferring ownership. Now whether my possession was wrongful, whether the title against is right or wrong, I have transferred. But this ownership cannot be transferred against the true owner. Now who's the true owner who claims himself? That is the Government of India or the British. Now there is another thing which has been said in this section, that possession is 9 points of the law. Now I am in a possession. So we all bungalow owners or mahals of these estates are in possession. Longer the possession, it creates ownership by prescription. Now possession is the root of title. So you must understand this. Possession is fact and ownership right. It's written very clearly. Now what is ownership rights? It is the kin conception of possession. It could be defined a right over a determinate thing, indefinite in the point of user, unrestricted in point of dispossession and unlimited in point of duration. Ownership in this whole sense extends all classes or rights, whether proprietary or personal, in rem or persona, in re proprietaria or re alienea. And it applies not only to the rights in the strict sense, but to liberties, power and immunities. Now how does rights of ownership culminate? There are the three main things. Right of possession of property owned, right of enjoyment of property, deals, power to deal with property as the owner pleases, power to dispose the property. Leaving 1938 and prior, after, These are two things what I'm saying. We were allowed to do anything. Nobody restricted us if you have your sale deeds. But after 1938, all of a sudden NOC, admission deeds, everything came into. Now, if you call off ownership, ownership is either vested or is a contingent vestment. Now, this means the owner title is already perfect. That's vestment. Now, when the title is yet imperfect, but is capable of becoming perfect in future by fulfillment of the terms and conditions, it is vestment. Remember where this word vestment is written in Rule 6 of CLA, 1925, and Rule 4, 1937, vested in His Majesty. It should be Her Majesty, but it is His Majesty. But in the same rule of both, it is written category 3 lands, which are private lands. So the vestment is with us. Whether it is a contingent vestment or is it a full vestment. Generally, I'll ask you one thing, where holder of occupancy rights need to be what we are in possession. How does anybody become an owner? Acquisition of ownership. How does it come? There are 7 ways of acquiring ownership. Either you inherit something, you gain something, you purchase the property, or it is by conquest, war, or it is through application of wealth. Could be through employment, or you have accepted a gift from somebody. So now let's see, did the government acquire these properties ever? No. If you remember, or if you go back, if somebody would say that most of the departmental officers, when come to evidence in courts, they say that we won this cantonment through war. They forget that before 1836, before the starting of the Governor General orders, 1784 Pitt's Act clearly said through the Queen of England that to increase the dominion of British in India, there will be no war. So, where is that war? Where is that conquest? Are they trying to make a fool of us? But because we didn't know all this, and it's very funny, this officer who will be a UDC, maybe a grade 1 or a grade 2, never ever you will call the defense estate officer in the court or the chief executive officer. He would say, sir, because it lapsed into the British Dominion. How it lapsed? The king did not have a heir or a son, so it lapsed. Treaty of Skeet was signed because there was nobody to take the throne on. So, the whole territory. So, the territory of that ruler became of the British, not of the inhabitants which were natives who were paying lagan of themselves. So, none of these 7 justify that ever British government or British army acquired any of these. Now, the third foremost part is the word called. Now, we've defined possession, we've defined ownership. Now comes that property. I'm talking this under the law, constitution. Property and ownership are very closely related. There can be no property without ownership, and there can be no ownership without property. So, what does it mean? So, proprietary rights in rem, the law of proprietary rights in persona are being distinguished in law. Friends, even under Article 19(1)(f), the right to property has been granted to us. But we are unable to take this definition of property, which means the highest right a man can have to anything being that right which one has to lands or tenements, goods or chattels, which does not depend on another courtesy. It includes ownership, estates, and interest in corporal things. So, what am I trying to say? We are private properties. Our land records have been usurped. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, when the GLR was being prepared in 1925, the British wrote us as holder of occupancy rights, which culminates into ownership. So we need to only be a little careful, study on this. If you understand what I am trying to say from the periods of those land revenue acts, which are from Awadh, Bengal, Madras and Bombay, HOR cannot be denied by the department. You just have to lead a small evidence. So I think I am in a position somewhere, my vision clubs with this, that we should ask for acquisition under Land Acquisition Act, could be 1894 or to the LARR of 2013. With this, friends, I would only say, if you've not been able to understand anything on HOR or any of the laws which I mentioned, I'm always available. Call me back, and you must subscribe my video channel on YouTube, because that is how it will reach to the last man living in these cantonments, 57 which I say. Thank you. Bye-bye.